Claude, your response should be in an engaging third-person narrative in simple, basic English, writing the first part of a sci-fi story titled, "They Killed One Human Child. Humanity Answered with Fire." The user specifically asked for a 800-word story without headings, written in third-person perspective. Remember to keep your language simple and accessible, using Korean names as requested. Make sure to create an interesting and engaging narrative, as part of a larger story that will continue in subsequent parts. The morning sun shone bright over New Horizon Colony. It was a beautiful day on planet Proxima b. The air was clean, the sky was blue, and the two suns made the water in the lake sparkle like diamonds. Dr. Kang looked out the window of his small medical office. His daughter Min played in the garden, with her stuffed bear. She was only 8 years old, with black hair and 2 braids and a smile that made everyone happy. Min was the only child born on the colony so far, and everyone loved her. "Min, stay where I can see you," Dr. Kang called. He had work to do, but he always kept an eye on his daughter. "Yes, Papa," Min answered, sitting down to pick flowers for her mother. Dr. Kang's wife, Captain Do, was at the big meeting with the Vekri aliens. The Vekri had landed on Proxima b 3 days ago. They were tall, with blue skin and 4 arms. They spoke in strange sounds that the computers translated into human language. Captain Do was the head of security for the colony. She had to make sure the aliens were friendly. "I'll be back before dinner," she had promised Min that morning. Dr. Kang looked at his computer. The Vekri had strange biology. Their blood was green, and they had 3 hearts. He was studying them to help if any got sick during their visit. Outside, Min was getting bored. She saw a pretty blue butterfly fly over the garden fence. Min loved butterflies. On Earth, her grandma had taught her to catch and release them. Without thinking, Min got up and followed the butterfly. The butterfly flew toward the big silver ship that belonged to the Vekri. Min knew she shouldn't go there, but the butterfly was so pretty. She followed it past the garden, past the warning signs, and closer to the ship. Near the ship was a strange object. It was round and glowed with blue light. Min had never seen anything like it. The butterfly landed on the object. Min reached out her small hand to touch it. "Papa says I should always learn new things," she whispered to herself. At that moment, 2 Vekri guards saw the human child approaching their sacred life stone. In Vekri culture, only high priests could touch the stone. It contained the history and souls of their ancestors. "Stop!" one guard shouted in the Vekri language. Their translator was back at the meeting. Min didn't understand. She smiled at the guards and pointed to the butterfly. "Look, isn't it pretty?" she said in simple English. The guards spoke quickly to each other. Their orders were clear: protect the life stone at all costs. They didn't know much about humans, but they knew this small one was breaking their most important rule. One guard raised his weapon. It made a high-pitched sound as it charged. Dr. Kang looked up from his computer when he heard the sound. He ran to the window. "Min!" he shouted when he saw where his daughter was. "Come back." Min turned to wave at her father. "Papa, look at the butterfly." The guard fired. A beam of blue light hit Min. For a moment she stood still, her eyes wide with surprise. Then she fell to the ground. Where Min had stood was now only a small pile of ash and her stuffed bear. Dr. Kang's scream cut through the air. He ran outside faster than he had ever run before. But it was too late. At the meeting, all the computers beeped at once. Captain Do looked at her screen and saw the emergency signal from the garden area. She ran out of the meeting room, followed by the colony leader and the Vekri ambassador. When they reached the garden, they found Dr. Kang on his knees, holding a small stuffed bear. Tears streamed down his face. "They killed her," he whispered. "They killed our Min." The Vekri ambassador looked at the pile of ash. He spoke into his translator. The small human violated sacred space. The guards followed protocol. "This matter is closed." Captain Do fell to her knees beside her husband. She took the bear from his hands and held it tight. "This matter is not closed," she said, her voice shaking with grief and anger. "My daughter was 8 years old. She was looking at a butterfly." The colony leader activated his emergency communication device. Within seconds, He was connected to Earth Command. "We have an incident," he said, his voice calm despite the tears in his eyes. "A human child has been killed by Vekri guards, requesting immediate instruction." Back on Earth, alarms began to sound in military bases around the world. For the first time in 50 years, the Emergency War Council was called into session. Within hours, battleships that had been sleeping in orbit woke up. Soldiers who had never thought they would fight were called to duty. Humanity had been peaceful for decades. But now they had a reason to fight. They had lost one of their children, and they would answer with fire. Admiral Yoon stood tall at the command center of Earth's defense headquarters. The massive screens around her showed military ships waking from their long sleep. For 20 years, humans had been at peace. Now everything changed because of one small girl named Min. "Show me the footage again," Admiral Yoon said quietly. The screen lit up with the last moments of Min's life, the little girl chasing a butterfly, the Vekri guards raising their weapons, the flash of blue light, then only ashes where a child once stood. Admiral Yoon closed her eyes for a moment. When she opened them, her decision was made. "Send a message. To all ships. Operation Child's Fire is now active." Across the solar system, military captains received their orders. Captain Lee of the warship Thunder was one of the first to respond. "We are ready, Admiral," he said through the communication screen. "My crew has been waiting for this moment." In truth, no one had been waiting for war. But now that it had come, they would not back down. Back on Proxima B, Dr. Kang sat in his empty home. His wife, Captain Du, was at the emergency shelter with the other colonists, but Dr. Kang couldn't leave. This was Min's home. Her toys were still scattered on the floor. Her drawings hung on the walls. A knock on the door broke the silence. It was Sun, the colony's communications officer. "Dr. Kang," Sun said softly. "There's a message for you from Earth Command." Dr. Kang didn't move. "What does it matter now?" he whispered. "It's from Admiral Yoon. She says they're coming. The whole fleet. They're coming for Min." For the first time since his daughter's death, Dr. Kang felt something besides grief. It was a small spark of anger. "Tell them to burn those monsters to ash," he said. Across the colony, Captain Do was organizing the evacuation. The colonists would move to the emergency bunkers until Earth forces arrived. As she worked, her communicator beeped. "Captain, this is Admiral Yoon," said the voice. "I need information about the Vekri. Weaknesses. Anything we can use." Captain Du thought for a moment. "Their ships have a blind spot near the engine housing, and they can't see well in red light. But, Admiral, what's the plan?" "Justice," Admiral Yoon answered simply. On the Vekri mothership, Supreme Commander Toll received troubling news. His sensors showed multiple large objects moving toward Proxima B at high speed. "Impossible," he said to his advisor. "The humans are peaceful. They have no active military." "That was true," said the advisor, "until we killed one of their young." Commander Toll looked confused. "It was one offspring. Humans produce many. Why would they react this way?" The advisor had studied human culture. Humans value their young differently than we do. To them, each child is precious, irreplaceable. "Inefficient," said Commander Toll. "But we should prepare defenses anyway." In space, the first wave of human ships dropped out of light speed near Proxima B. Captain Lee's Thunder led the formation. "All weapons ready," he ordered. "Target their military vessels only." His weapons officer looked up in surprise. "Only military targets, sir? Not their cities?" "We are not like them," Captain Lee said firmly. "We don't kill children." Earth's President Park addressed the people from the Emergency Command Center. Billions watched on screens around the world. "Today we face a choice," she said. "How to answer violence against the most innocent among us. We choose to answer with strength but also with honor. We will have justice for Min Kung, but we will not become monsters ourselves." The first battle was quick and decisive. Human ships destroyed the Vekri defense satellites with precision strikes. Captain Lee's Thunder disabled 2 Vekri cruisers, without destroying them. "Send the message," Captain Lee ordered. On every Vekri communication channel, the same image appeared. Min's face, smiling, holding her stuffed bear. Below it, in both human and Vekri language, were the words, "Every child is irreplaceable." Back on Earth, Admiral Yoon received the first reports of victory, but she took no joy in it. She opened her desk drawer and looked at the picture of her own daughter, who had died of illness years before. "This is for you too, Sue," she whispered. "For all the children." Dr. Kang packed a small bag with medical supplies. Captain Du found him at the door of their home. "Where are you going?" she asked. "To help," he said. "I'm still a doctor. When the fighting is done, there will be wounded on both sides." Captain Du took his hand. "They killed our child." "Yes," Dr. Kang said, "and I will never forgive them. But Min would want me to. Save lives, not take them. That's how we honor her memory." As they spoke, the first Earth troops landed on Proxima B. Operation Child's Fire had begun in earnest. Humanity had answered violence with fire, but it would be a controlled burn, one that sought justice without becoming the very thing they fought against. The Vekri were about to learn an important lesson. Humans protect their children, no matter the cost. But they would also learn that humanity's greatest strength was not their weapons but their hearts. The space around Proxima B glowed with the engines of human ships. Admiral Yoon's plan was now in full motion. She called it Operation Child's Fire, but the soldiers had their own name for it, Min's Justice. Admiral Yoon stood on the bridge of her command ship, the Protector. The large screen showed the Vekri homeworld, still 3 days away at top speed. "Status. Report," she said to her officers. General Park, the head of ground forces, stepped forward. "The first teams have secured the colony, Admiral. No more human lives lost. We have captured 4 Vekri guards, including the 2 who—" He stopped, not wanting to say the words. "The ones who killed Min," Admiral Yoon finished for him. "Are they talking?" "Yes." "They don't understand why we're so angry. To them, it was just following orders." Admiral Yoon looked at the star map. The Vekri controlled 7 planets in this system. Soon they would control none. "Begin Phase 2, she ordered. Across the fleet, ships moved into attack formation, but these were not simple warships. They carried scientists, doctors, and specialists in Vekri biology. Dr. Kang was one of them. After Min's death, he had joined the fleet as a medical advisor. He knew more about Vekri bodies than anyone else. Now he sat in a small lab on the ship, Dawn looking at blood samples. "They have 3 hearts," he explained to the science team. "But their middle heart is the master. If it stops, the others follow, and their eyes can't see red light well." Captain Du entered the lab. Since Min's death, her face had become hard like stone, but her eyes softened when she saw her husband. "The Admiral wants to know if you found anything useful," she said. Dr. Kang nodded. "I have created a gas that will make them sleep. It won't kill them, but they will be helpless for hours." "Good," Captain Du said. "We don't need to kill them all. We just need them to feel our pain." On the Vekri homeworld, Supreme Commander Toll was worried. Reports came in every hour about human ships destroying their defense stations. 3 military bases on outer planets had gone silent. "How are they doing this?" he asked his war council. "Our forces are stronger, our technology is better," his chief scientist spoke up. "The humans are not fighting like we expected. They avoid our strengths and target our weaknesses. Someone has been studying us very carefully." A message arrived from the human fleet. Commander Toll opened it and saw the face of Admiral Yoon. "You mom killed 1 human child," she said. "A little girl who was looking at a butterfly. Her name was Min. Now you will learn what that means." The message ended. Commander Toll felt something new, a cold feeling in his middle heart. Later he would learn that humans called this feeling fear. The first attack on the Vekri homeworld was not with bombs or guns. It was with knowledge. Human ships released Small drones that spread Dr. Kang's sleep gas in Vekri military bases. Soldiers fell asleep at their posts. Ships drifted without pilots. The mighty Vekri defense force became still and quiet. Then came the human soldiers in special suits that made them invisible to Vekri eyes. They moved through the sleeping bases, taking weapons, collecting information, leaving messages. Every child is irreplaceable. When the Vekri soldiers woke up hours later, they found themselves alive but defeated. In the Vekri High Council chamber, panic spread like fire. "How do we stop them?" asked one council member. Commander Toll had no answer. For the first time in the history of their species, the Vekri were not the strongest. They had always believed that killing was simple, just part of nature's way. Life and death were just numbers to them. Now they faced an enemy who thought differently. On the Protector, Admiral Yoon received good news. The first phase of Operation Child's Fire was complete. No human lives lost. Minimal Vekri casualties. Maximum impact. "Now they know we can hurt them," she said to her officers. "Next, we show them why we must." She ordered all ships to broadcast the same video to every Vekri screen. It showed Min playing in the garden. It showed her chasing the butterfly. It showed her death. Then it showed Earth's children, millions of them in schools, parks, homes, all looking at the camera, all saying the same words. My name could have been Min. Dr. Kang watched the video from his lab. Tears ran down his face. Captain Do stood beside him, her hand on his shoulder. "Will this bring her back?" Dr. Kang asked quietly. "No," Captain Do answered. "But it will make sure no other parent feels what we feel. No other child dies like she did." On the Vekri homeworld, Commander Toll made a decision. He sent a message to Admiral Yoon's ship. "We wish to talk." The next phase of Operation Child's Fire was about to begin. Not with weapons, but with words. Hard words from a species that had just discovered the true meaning of loss. Admiral Yoon read the message, from Commander Toll again. The Vekri wanted to talk. After 3 days of human ships taking control of their military bases, they finally understood they could not win. "It could be a trap," said General Park, standing beside her on the bridge of the Protector. "Maybe," Admiral Yoon agreed. "But we need to hear what they say." She ordered a meeting on neutral ground, a small moon orbiting the Vekri homeworld. No weapons allowed. Both sides could bring 5 people. Dr. Kang insisted on being part of the human team. "I need to look in their eyes," he told Captain Do. "I need to ask them why they killed our daughter." Captain Do wanted to go too, but Admiral Yoon needed her to command the backup forces. If anything went wrong, Captain Do would lead the rescue. "Be careful," Captain Do said, hugging her husband before he boarded the shuttle. "Come back to me." Baby Fo. Meeting place was a flat plain on the moon's surface. Human engineers built a simple room with air that both species could breathe. Inside was a round table with 10 chairs. Admiral Yoon arrived first with Dr. Kang, General Park, a translator, and a scientist who understood Vekri biology. They waited in silence. When the Vekri arrived, Dr. Kang's hands shook. He was looking at the same kind of beings who had turned his child to ash. Commander Toll was tall, with blue skin and 4 arms. He wore no weapons but carried himself like someone used to being obeyed. "We will speak now," Commander Toll said through his translator. "Why have you attacked us?" Admiral Yoon's eyes narrowed. "You know why. Your guards killed a human child, Min Kang, 8 years old." Commander Toll made a gesture with his upper arms that the translator said meant confusion. "It was one offspring. We do not understand your reaction. In nature, many young die. It is normal." Dr. Kang could not stay quiet any longer. "She was our daughter, not just an offspring. She had a name, a life, dreams. Min wanted to be a doctor like me. She loved butterflies and stories and making people smile." His voice broke. "She was not replaceable." For a moment there was silence. Then the Vekri scientist in their group spoke. "I believe I understand now," she said slowly. "Humans have few, young. Each one carries much genetic diversity. Each one is unique. It's not about genetics, Dr. Kang said. It's about love. The Vakri looked at each other, their head tentacles moving in what seemed like confusion. Commander Toll spoke again. We have reviewed the human broadcasts. You could destroy our world, but you have not. You have taken care not to kill our young, even when attacking our bases. Why? Admiral Yoon leaned forward. Because we are not like you. We value all children, even yours. As they talked, something important was happening on the Vakri homeworld. Captain Do had secretly sent small teams to gather information. What they found changed everything. One team discovered a hidden facility deep underground. Inside were thousands of Vakri children, but they were kept in small boxes. They were being raised by machines, not parents. They had numbers, not names. The Sei team sent pictures back to the Protector. Captain Du looked at them and felt sick. But she also saw an opportunity. Send me a shuttle, she told her officers. I need to get to that meeting. Now. Back at the moon base, the talks had reached a difficult point. The Vakri understood that humans were angry, but they still didn't truly understand why. The door opened, and Captain Do walked in. Without asking permission, she placed a small device on the table. It showed 3D images of the Vakri children in the boxes. This is why you don't understand us, she said to Commander Toll. You don't even love your own children. The female Vakri scientist made a strange sound. Her head tentacles curled tightly, a sign of strong emotion. The nursery chambers are not meant to be seen by outsiders, she said. Why? Captain Do asked. Are you ashamed? The scientist looked at Commander Toll, who nodded for her to speak. It was not always this way, she explained. Long ago we raised our young as you do, but then came the Great War. Too many adults died. Too many young were left without care. The boxes were created to ensure survival. Dr. Kang looked at the images, his doctor's eyes seeing things others might miss. These children are alive but not healthy. They need touch. They need care. For the first time, Commander Toll seemed unsure. This is how it has been for 1,000 years. Admiral Yoon saw an opening, a way to end this conflict. What if we helped you change it back? The room grew quiet. This was the turning point, not just for the war, but for both species. Show us, Commander Toll said finally. Show us what it means to value a child. 1 year had passed since Min Kong's death. The garden where she had chased a butterfly was now a beautiful park with flowers from both Earth and the Vakri homeworld. In the center stood a small statue of a girl with her hand out, as if a butterfly had just landed on her finger. Dr. Kang walked through the park slowly. The pain of losing Min never went away, but it had changed over time. It was less sharp now, more like a constant ache he carried with him. He stopped at the statue and placed a fresh flower at its base. As he stood up, he noticed a Vakri child watching him from a few steps away. The small blue being had big eyes and only 2 of its 4 arms had fully grown. Hello, Dr. Kang said gently. What's your name? The child blinked its large eyes. I am Lear, she said in simple English. This is Min. She pointed to the statue. Yes, Dr. Kang answered. She was my daughter. Lear stepped closer. My teacher told us about her. She is why we are here now. Dr. Kang nodded. It was true in more ways than the child could understand. After the turning point meeting on the moon, everything had changed. The war ended not with more fighting, but with an unusual peace agreement. The Vakri agreed to stand trial for Min's death. In return, humans would help the Vakri learn how to care for their young again. The trial had been broadcast across 17 star systems. Commander Toll and the guards who killed Min faced justice before a mixed court of humans and other alien species. Their punishment was not death. Instead, they were sentenced to work in the new child care centers, learning how to value young lives. But the most important change came in the Vakri themselves. With help from human doctors and teachers, they began to raise their children with care and love. The growing boxes were opened. Vekri children felt the touch of their parents for the first time in 1,000 years. Some Vekri families even moved to human colonies as part of a cultural exchange program. Lear's family was one of them. "My mother works with your wife," Lear told Dr. Kang. In the security office, Dr. Kang smiled. Captain Do now led the combined human-Vekri security force for the colony. After the war, she had said she never wanted to hold a weapon again. Now she taught others how to protect, not harm. "Would you like to walk with me?" Dr. Kang asked Lear. "I'm going to meet my wife for lunch." Lear nodded happily and fell into step beside him. As they walked through the park, other children played nearby. Human children and Vekri children together. They were watched over by adults of both species, all making sure the little ones stayed safe. Near the edge of the park, Admiral Yoon stood talking with a group of officials. After the war, she had been asked to lead the new Interspecies Protection Force. Its main job was making sure no child of any species ever faced what Min had. She saw Dr. Kang and Lear and waved to them. "Doctor, good to see you," she called. And, "Hello, Lear. How is your language class going?" "Good, Admiral," Lear answered proudly. "I know 500 human words now." Admiral Yoon smiled. "Excellent. Maybe you'll be a translator someday." As they continued walking, Dr. Kang thought about how much had changed because of one small life and one terrible death. The Min Kang. Peace accords were now taught in schools across human space. The rules were simple. No child is ever a valid target. All children deserve protection and care. The value of a child's life cannot be measured. They reached the restaurant where Captain Do was waiting. She hugged her husband and then bent down to Lear's level. "Hello, Lear. Are you joining us for lunch?" "If that's okay," the child said shyly. "Of course it is," Captain Do said, taking Lear's small hand in hers. As they sat down to eat, Dr. Kang looked around the restaurant. Humans and Vekri sat at tables together, talking and sharing food. Outside, ships from both worlds came and went from the spaceport. Scientists from both species worked together in the research center, where Dr. Kang now led a team studying how to cure diseases that affected both humans and Vekri. None of it would bring Min back. Nothing could do that. But her death had changed two species forever. Because of Min, billions of Vekri children would grow up loved and cared for. Because of Min, new laws protected children across the stars. That evening, Dr. Kang and Captain Do returned to the statue in the park. The sun was setting, painting the sky in beautiful colors. They stood together, arms around each other, remembering their daughter. A real butterfly landed on the statue's outstretched finger. It sat there for a moment, wings gently moving, then flew away toward the stars. She would be proud, Captain Do whispered, of all of this. Dr. Kang nodded. "Every child is irreplaceable," he said softly, "but some children change worlds.